and gentlemen, welcome to the round 11 edition of the Football Town Show. First up, Richmond are looking to close the gap on Melbourne Uni as they take on Heidelberg FC. Then Chloe Dranowski returns to action for Pascoe Vale against Vic Vipers in an epic derby. Then Ashburton FC look to get their campaign back to winning ways as New South Wales goalkeeping sensation Tani Rose Kelly joins Fitzroy FC. And then the young Jess Howe looks to get all 3 points against the EFA Eagles. Milton Sakos will look to inspire his Vic Vipers against Pascoe Vale in the much anticipated El Clasico. Leonardo Correa returns to Mickleham FC against Ricky Castro's Ashburton FC. And then Jordan McCallish returns to action for Hume against Ali Abdul's Albert Park. And then the final game of the night, Tomo Grigic hopes to continue his red-hot form for Metropolitan, going up against LA Granolia's Fitzroy FC. We now join Jimmy Soufas for the Women's League.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we take a look at last week's results, Richmond got over Ashburton in a close one, 5-4. Melbourne Uni routed Pascoe Vale 5-1. The Vic Vipers got a much important win over Heidelberg 4-2. Fitzroy continued their good form with a 4-1 win over EFA Eagles. To kickstart the round 11 side of the women's draw, Heidelberg took on Richmond, who have been resurging in recent weeks. Led by Aziza Renly, she opened the scoring this week against Heidelberg, and Richmond took a much needed 1-0 lead. As Richmond tried to close the gap on Melbourne Uni at the top, Alki Stefanidis forced her way through the Heidelberg defence, and it was a 2-0 lead very quickly, and Alex Shipp had much food for thought. Renly was causing constant problems as she played in Ash Kelly, who found Kristen Stensholt unmarked at the back post, and Stensholt finished it off, a 3-0 lead for Richmond. And then Stensholt found a Renly who found the unmarked Ash Kelly, whose recent transfer from Hume has given Richmond another avenue to goal. 4-0 down, Demi Kalianis went straight through the Richmond defence before a lovely finish gave Heidelberg some hope going into the second half. Renly then was continuing to create headaches, and Kelly virtually walked her way into a fifth goal for her side, and Richmond were hardly going to be troubled here. Elise Kyrgios then picked out an unmarked Candice Corenius at the back post. Kelly with some of the most lazy defending I've ever seen. Heidelberg had a consolation goal. A minute remaining and Wani Sakalaropoulos returning to the side got her name on the score sheet, and it was 6-2 to Richmond with 30 seconds left. Marie Vuthas then picked out Elise Kyrgios as she rolled the ball past MJ Radic in goal, but it would finish a convincing 6-3 win to Richmond.
I'm here with super Richmond striker Ash Kelly. Ash, fantastic win against Heidelberg today. How did you see the game?
Well, considering I came 5 minutes before we started, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but at the end we got a good result.
Now, next week against Pascoe Vale, that's normally a pretty big game, and with Richmond in the hunt for the title, are you going to be coming down for that? Or
I would like to make it. I'll see what's happening, but I'm sure I'll be down here to play.
Clash on the card was a real derby. Pascoe Vale taking on old rivals the Vic Vipers in a game that both sides had to win. An early strike from Tilly Ford fell kindly for Chloe Dranowski, and then it fell for Illy Jacob, who laid off Dranowski, and she opened the scoring. A very good start for Pascoe Vale. A long ball from Candace Salama was almost turned into her own net by Illy Jacob, but saved by the post. Salama looked the most creative player on the pitch for the Vipers, and her long throw found Tina Benoit, and her header levelled the score, and the Vipers were back in the game. Sarah Richardson, recently returning from international duty, dribbled through the Vipers' defence before forcing a save out of Salama, and Richardson then played a ball through which Salama could have let go straight into the goal and it wouldn't have counted, but she got a touch on it, and Pascoe Vale were back in front. Going into the second half, free kick specialist Jasmina Pedic almost had the Vipers level again as it hit both posts and just denied her. Tara De Mello then forced a save out of Borman, and the Vipers were really pressing for an equaliser. A late Lavonia strike was saved, and Pascoe Vale came up with
As we mentioned before, you represented Australia in the World Cup in Colombia. Can you share some light on that experience?
Of course. It was unbelievable. You know, especially games against Colombia and Venezuela. Playing Colombia, the stadium was packed out. They're big frothers over there. Packed out stadium, more than 4,000 people. You know, you couldn't even hear your teammates on the field. It was crazy. South America, I love them. I love Colombia, and I'll never forget it. So thank you, Colombia. Thank you, Australia.
And thank you for joining us, Sarah. Good luck for next week's game against Richmond, and hopefully you can keep climbing up the table.
Thank you. Thanks, Futsalroos.
The next clash on the card saw Ashburton FC take on a star-studded Fitzroy lineup. Fitzroy were the heavy favourites in this game, and they got off to the perfect start when Elena Vadke dribbled too easily past captain Danica Petreska, and she toe-poked straight through the Ashburton goalkeeper, and Fitzroy took a 1-0 lead. It was short-lived though, as Danica Petreska turned Padiki Dede really easily, and her deflected effort went straight past New South Wales import Tani Rose Kelly. Rose Kelly was then beaten again by Izzy Saglam, a ball rolling across the ground and beating her for 2-1. Emma Hubbard then stole the ball from Lisa Woods in defence before laying it off for Saglam, who made it 3-1 to Ashburton, and they were running away with this game. A laid-off ball to Danny Goodell. She quickly made amends for Fitzroy's poor start, drilling the ball past keeper Mel Lum, and Fitzroy were coming back into the game. Zoe Stamatopoulos then picked out Padiki Dede as she levelled the score at 3-3, and Fitzroy looked like they would take some momentum. A brilliant turn from Petreska left Mitkovsky on the ground, and Petreska rolled the ball past Rose Kelly, a 4-3 lead now for the Tigers. Danny Godelge then lit up the Futsalroos stadium with a stunning toe poke to level the score, and Fitzroy would be looking to push on for a winner. Stacey Papadopoulos dribbled straight out of the Ashburton defence. A 1-2 with Stamatopoulos almost found the winner, but it would stay 4-4.
I'm here with Ashburton manager Perry Chitas. Perry, what a fantastic result there, 4-4. Although you could have got the win, how did you see it?
Oh, it was a good result. We started off well in the first half. Could have got a couple more goals just to get a bit of a bigger lead, but happy with the results. The girls played well to the final second, so can't complain.
Now, what are the hopes for the rest of the season? I mean, you do, with that result, you do get closer from the bottom. Are you hoping to make top 4 or...?
Well, the aim is to hit top 4. That was the aim at the start of the season. Try get top 4 this season, then hopefully build up to next season if I can get some consistent players and keep moving up on the table.
Cleared by Sharman Rajab. Really well done by Zurich. Lovely goal, Nana Yao. Absolute quality. Andrea Farina gives them a high five, says, that's a nice goal. Gets the Vipers on the board within a minute. Quick fire stuff. That's what the Vipers were lacking. Viter off his line, shutting that down. Nahani finishes it off. Classy finish.
Hi, I'm Anna, and you're watching the Football Town Show. Go Futsal!
Final clash of the night saw Melbourne Uni take on a struggling EFA Eagles side, and Melbourne Uni would be looking to bounce back after a recent defeat to Richmond. Marcela Marquez was back to her old self, dribbling through the young Eagles all too easily to open the scoring, and it looked like it could be a long night at the office when Marquez got the ball once again from Jess Owl and toe poked off the post and in. Finley Nobbs looked like she was going to have a long night. Maddie Stockdale then had a terrible turnover and Nobbs conceded again. Marquez toe-poking home her hat-trick. Nikki Cook then fueling another counter-attack, and she finished it off after linking up with Marquez. Marcela Marquez right up there for MVP and the clear favourite, you would think. Jess Owl then rolled the ball past Nobbs again, and it was just being an absolute blowout for Melbourne Uni. Eagles not even getting close to their goal. A brilliant finish there from Nat Chi, and the game was really running away from the Eagles. It looked like it could be cricket scores. Nikki Cook then played a long ball, and it was turned in that time by Grace Kim as the Melbourne Uni supporting cast started to get in on the act. But the main event was still Marcela Marquez, and she was completely tearing the Eagles apart. This first half getting so out of hand that Finley Nobbs would eventually be substituted out of goal. 9-0 at the break. It took the Eagles no time in the second half to get a first shot on target through Georgia Alberti. Jess Owl then had her first effort saved by standing keeper Deanna Cartwright, but she put it in at the second effort and Melbourne Uni led 10-0. Letizia Samet then drilled one through and Owl was on hand to finish again. 11-0 the score, but the Eagles were much improved in the second half after the change of goalkeeper. Owl then played in Nikki Cook before Chi finished it off. A 12-0 rout to the ladder leaders keeps them top for another week.
I'm here with little striker from Melbourne Uni, Jess Owl. Jess, fantastic game. It was a thumping, really, 12-0 from EFA, but it was good for you to get a run out there.
Yeah, just new to the side, so it was really great to gel with the girls. We had our game beforehand, and I think we really bounced back pretty well. You know, we were tired, but we still worked hard. We got good swap-ins, everyone had to go, everyone was scoring, so it was a really good game. And the opponents did really well, they kept fighting till the end. It's a good game.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our round 11 footage of the Women's Pepsi V-League. Now let's take a look at the results in a nutshell. Heidelberg went down to Richmond 6-3. Pascoe Vale just overcame the Vic Vipers 2-1. Ashburton pulled out a draw against Fitzroy 4-4. And Melbourne Uni crushed EFA Eagles 12-0. Next up on the agenda, we'll have a look at the standings after round 11. Melbourne Uni lead the way still with 30 points. Richmond have come up the table into second on 25 with a game in hand. Fitzroy in third on 22. Pascoe Vale in fourth on 18 with a game in hand. The Vic Vipers are fifth on only 11 points. Ashburton in sixth on 8 points. EFA Eagles in seventh on 6 points. And Heidelberg dead last with just the 1 win. Now to the top goal scorers, Marcelo Marquez still leads the way with 28. Letizia Samet has 13, Hilly Jacob has 10, Tizza Renly has 10, and Nikki Cook has broken into the top 5 with 9. Taking a look at next week's clashes, Fitzroy and Melbourne Uni will be one not to miss. Richmond will take on Pascoe Vale in another cracker. Heidelberg will look to get their second win over Ashburton this season, and EFA Eagles will take on a struggling Vic Vipers to round out the round 12 card. Now stay tuned for the men's side of things, ladies and gentlemen, with Matt Montgomery.
Now viewers, taking a look at all the round 10 results from the men's league. Fitzroy were too good for Albert Park as was expected. Pascoe Vale overcame Mickleham. Metro had a shock win over the Vipers for their first loss of the season. Ashburton had a close one over Hume. Now for the first game for round 11, it was the El Clasico to kick things off between the Vipers and Pascoe Vale. This is the one fixture that never fails to impress, and Pascoe Vale captain Andre Caro hit the inside of the post and was lucky not to go in. Then it was Max Yavrum who went down the other end and got the Vipers into an early 1-0 lead. With momentum, Adam Cooper and Johnny Barrientos linked up for the second goal of the game. The Vipers now sitting in a comfortable 2-0 lead 4 minutes before half-time, and Miguel Burgos put his body on the line to stop a dangerous chance for their title rivals. Then, in a cruel twist of fate for Pascoe Vale, Jason Barrientos bobbed up just before the half-time whistle to make it 3-0. To kick off the second half, Robert Armelini got Pascoe Vale back into the game and reduced the deficit to only 2 goals, and it was certainly game on from this point. In the next run of play, Vipers captain Jonathan Barrientos was unlucky not to chip past Felipe Blay, but the league stalwart then got his chance minutes later as Pascoe Vale opted to play the fly keeper role. Johnny Barrientos shot from distance and celebrated in kind. There was 5 minutes remaining and a 3-goal lead to the Vipers. Pascoe Vale continued to push to reduce the deficit. The Vipers were out for more. Jason Barrientos hitting the outside of the post from distance. There was a late consolation goal for Sofiane Soufi as Joel De Silva teed him up from an angle, but it wasn't enough as the Vipers ran out 4-2 victors.
I'm here with the star keeper from Vic Vipers, Christos Apostolakis. It was a real big build-up to this game. He's really came prepared. You were here an hour early before the game started. What was the preparation going into this game?
I think the message during the week was we know Pascoe Vale are a great team. They've shown that throughout the seasons, and we knew that if we didn't come here switched on, that we were going to maybe not be up for it. And lucky we got Michael down, our small scientist, and he gave us a good warm-up and just had a little bit of discipline beforehand, and I think it showed because we were switched on from the start.
Saved, shaved again. Saved from Chen. Joel De Silva, lovely. Zilic not tracking his man. And De Silva runs straight through. Franjic, Joseph Franjic! What a belter! Drilled into the top corner from Joseph Franjic. That is a massive goal.
Look at Campbell, another save. He has been good tonight.
What a stunner! A live wire, Jose Portillo slams that one into the back of the net.
Hi, I'm Casey and you're watching the Football Town Show.
The next game on the card saw Mickleham and Ashburton, 2 teams in the bottom 4, go head-to-head as Mickleham looked to increase their distance over bottom of the league Albert Park, and they got the start they were after through key striker Lockie Campbell. With the momentum of taking the lead, Luke Hollian's delightful ball into the middle of the D found the feet of Iggy Filipovic, and he made no mistake from close range finishing past Con Macris. Ashburton, who looked like rabbit caught in headlights, finally got on the score sheet through Davide Akavisi and reduced the scoreline to 2-1. But that didn't last long as Lockie Campbell scored a contender for a goal of the week from distance, beating Macris on the inside of the post. With the wind behind their sails now, Micklem had all the confidence in the world, Hollian getting his second assist to Iggy Filipovic to make it 4-1. Hollian, who had 2 assists as we mentioned before, got on the score sheet for himself with a free kick which broke a poorly constructed wall. Then from a corner, another impressive youngster of the league, Stephen Gustus, scored a left foot bomb, leaving Steve Carsfarn rooted to the spot. There was a late consolation goal added by Rodrigo, but it wasn't enough as Micklem ran out 5-3 winners.
Your second half of the season last season was just unbelievable, Stephen. You only dropped 1 game to Pascoval, and the way you started this season, you know, why wasn't the hunger there? You lost it. You know, why took you such a while to get your second win of the season?
Well, I think the hunger's there, but it's that, you know, we need to have our players on the park, you know. We have missed Lockie, Eric again today didn't come, the big fella, Vlada, you know, so as long as we get, you know, we've got a full team out there, or most of our players, you know, we can do well. We can win a few more games and, you know, hopefully, you know, not get relegated.
The next game saw the lowly Albert Park FC take on Hume, who hadn't had the greatest run of results this season. They were heavily favoured to take out the 3 points in this clash, and as expected, they went in front with a stunning free kick by Nejdet Sahin, who keeps getting the job done with that thumping left foot of his. The score was soon 2-0 as Jordan Michaelis, the returning playmaker, proved his worth to manager Amin Kadad. The next run of play, in his first game back since injury, Sachin Sisek hit the outside of the post in his quest for his first goal in a matter of months. Then Ahmed Azam hit an easy strike past keeper Mo Kuzicu, and Hume were soon in a 3-0 halftime lead. To kick off the second half, Kuzicu was called into an early save, and Sachin Sisek got the goal he was after with a neat finish into the bottom right-hand corner. A poor clearance from Albert Park captain Jose Vasquez fell to the smallest man on the field in Fikri Bozdogan, and he made no mistake chipping over Kuzicu for a 5-0 lead. In the next run of play, it was yet another failed clearance from Jose Vasquez. Despite his protests for a handball, Mehmet Parlak finished his one-on-one chance past Kuzicu to extend the lead further. George Pascalidis saved his side's blushes somewhat to register their first of the game, but there was more brilliance to come from Hume as Michaelis finished high into the net for his side's 7th. There was no way Hume were done with the league's whipping boys, Sachin Sisek completing a well-earned double, and then Ahmed Azam's corner found Mehmet Parlak's brilliantly timed run to cap off the 9-1 result.
For me, Serge, you're a very important member of this team. You know, when you're here, you're a goal poach, you get important goals like tonight, a couple of goals again at important times of the game. You know, I'm sure if you come every week, I'm sure Hume will get a lot more victories. It's been a disappointing season so far. Obviously, you know that.
Well, we hope so. We can turn it around. There's quality in the team. I haven't been coming for a while now, but as you can see, it just lacks the chemistry. You know, there's a lot of quality players in there. Just have to bond well like a couple of seasons back, and it'll work. Obviously, Vadim's not here. Vadim is one of the most experienced players here, but
we're missing Matty Vajoski too.
Matty's not here as well. You know, just it's that chemistry factor, the bonding factor. Like 3 seasons ago, we're in the same situation. We turned it around. I think next season, with Vadim and Matty coming back as well, I think we can change it around.
The final game for round 11 saw top 4 rivals Metropolitan take on Fitzroy FC. These two have played some very entertaining clashes in recent times, and this clash was no different. Metropolitan taking an early 1-0 lead through captain Dino Redzepovic. But Fitzroy was soon to equalise through youngster Ilhan Altuntas, whose delightful toe poker beat Michael Charmi. It wasn't a good couple of minutes for Metro keeper Michael Charmi, whose throw hit Ali Redzepovic in the head, which then fell to Fernando De Moraes, and he made no mistake from close range. De Moraes' free kick found Mark Burden on the edge of the D, and Fitzroy was soon 3-1 to the good. Burden's run from defence found captain Alistair Dunlop, and Fitzroy was soon well on top of the Royal Blues. Metropolitan then got their chance to get back into the game as JJ's cross hit the feet of Ange Fusca to reduce the deficit. There was more good fortune to come for Fitzroy as De Moraes made a mockery of the Metropolitan defence to set up Alistair Dunlop for his second of the half. Down 5-2 at the break, Metropolitan got the start they were after in the second half. Tomo Grigic latching onto a fine Ernie Simsek cross. But it always seemed Fitzroy had an answer, and despite pushing over the goals to stop the ball rolling in, Simsek failed in that attempt as De Moraes got his second of the game. Grigic with a free kick from distance broke through a poorly set up wall and got underneath the legs of keeper Jimmy Brennan to reduce his deficit to 6-4. And when De Moraes lost control of the ball in the middle of the park, Ernie Simsek pounced on the loose ball to get his first of the game and really had Fitzroy looking over their shoulder. De Moraes did his best to try and extend the lead, but the crossbar halted him from doing so. Some brilliant close-range ball work by Grigic set up Ali Redzepovic for only his first of the game, but it didn't matter as the scores were level with only a minute remaining. Then in an amazing turn of events, Tomo Grigic, with only 10 seconds left on the clock, the last kick of the game, delivered an epic comeback 7-6 win.
You know, the Metropolitan of old would have probably caved in and lost that game. You gave it everything to the final whistle, and you pulled out 2 goals in the last minute. It's a never die attitude from this Metropolitan side now. We've seen it last week, seen it this week. Is this the secret to winning a premiership?
Look, it's been our problem probably in the last 4 or 5 years that we sort of, after a couple of goals, we got to give up. And like even last year and this season is just attitude is brilliant. And
it's totally different, isn't it?
It is. Feelings better, and boys just wanted to win, and that's a bonus today. So it's good.
Well, what an epic clash that was. They don't call Tomo Grigic the heartbreaker for nothing, as he scored late winners for his side, Metropolitan, on many occasions. As we have a look at the round 11 results, the Vipers continue on their merry way in 2013-14 over Pascoe Vale. Mickleham upset Ashburton, Hume trounced Albert Park, and as we know, the heartbreaker delivered for Metropolitan. As we take a look at the round 11 ladder standings, the Vipers are on top, clearly on top over Pascoe Vale by 6 points. Fitzroy and Metropolitan equal 22 points in 3rd and 4th positions, while Ashburton, Hume, Mickleham and pointless Albert Park round out the bottom 4. The race for the Golden Boot is also heating up. As we have a look at the ladder, Ricky Castro from Ashburton still leads the way by a sultry goal over Ernie Simsek. Sofian Sufi, Adam Cooper and Yuso Yuladzilla round out the top 5. Alright, next week, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out all the round 12 action as we have a look at the clashes Metropolitan and Albert Park. Well, we all know who's going to win that one. Pascoe Vale and Fitzroy will surely be a thriller. Mickleham and Hume, what can Mickleham do after their upset win over Ashburton? And then Ashburton look to get back to winning ways over title favourites, Big Vipers. As always, ladies and gents, let's go to Goal of the Week.